We are back for my American audience. Hope you're having a great Labor Day weekend. I got out and got some sun, some beach time because fall is coming, and for many people it gets very cold. So enjoy that. Enjoy the holiday. It's going to be a little trickier for fans of the U.S. men's national team and Americans everywhere in general after a 1-1 draw with Canada in Nashville, leaving the United States at 2 points after 2 games in World Cup qualifiers. After the scoreless tie in El Salvador, now they hope to recoup things against Honduras in San Pedro Sula. That is coming up on the, when is that? The 8th, September the 8th. So here it comes up on Wednesday. And the U.S. has a lot of things to work out. Now, before we even kicked a ball in Canada, this was a disaster for the U.S. You're looking for positive signs coming out. The big one was Weston McKennie, who broke protocol. As I record this, I don't have details, but a very frustrating player for a guy you look as your leader. Obviously, one of your most important players. Many would say second or third on this team. And the fact that he's done this again. He had COVID. He also had this party, and remember it, with his Juventus teammates at his house. I don't really get too upset about that, as it stood alone. Breaking quarantine. I'm not going to sit here and throw the book at it. You shouldn't do that. But this is World Cup qualifying, and they need you so much after a very difficult result. I don't know what you did. It could have been small or been big. I give credit to Greg Berhalter for laying down the law early here and making an example that this is important work, and if you're going to goof around, you're not in, and we'll find someone else to do it. So you have that. Gio Reyna out for Canada and Honduras with a hamstring strain. Then you have Zach Steffen getting COVID positive. Really tough for Steffen because, as one of the things I'll talk about as we move forward, to me, right now you put Matt Turner's name in ink. He is our number one. I think you say the same thing with John Brooks and Miles Robinson. They were one of the bright spots here. Miles Robinson, amazing that he has not been courted by these European clubs. He's just a beautiful defender, does everything right, does everything you need and then some in the modern example of a defender. Those 3 guys lock them in. But all that coming in, just a massive punch in the stomach here on the Soccer OG. I wanted to get that out of the way so we can set the table for the game. New Soccer OG podcast coming out late Sunday night. I'll be joined by Andy Goldstein of Talk Sport. We'll talk about USA England broadcasting soccer. He's hilarious. You're going to really enjoy that. So where all podcasts are available. And please subscribe here. Thank you. The numbers have gone through the roof. We eclipsed 2,000 subscribers. We're on our way to 3,000. Excuse me. Got a frog in my throat. I was screaming a lot at the TV, as you all were as well. On our way to 3,000. So I can't tell you how great that makes me feel that you're digging this. I love doing it. I put a lot of work into it, I can tell you, but it's a labor of love. So thank you for the support. Let's get into the game. Starting 11. As we would expect, many changes. Matt Turner, not a change. Neither was Brooks or Miles Robinson defensively. Anthony Robinson comes in, moving Serginho Dest to right back. We'll get to Dest in a minute. That put DeAndre Yedlin on the bench, who was also a big story in this game. It was really more like a 4-2-3-1. I mean, we talk about 4-3-3, but you had the 4 defenders. You really had Adams and Acosta in a more holding role. And then you had Aronson Pulisic, Christian Pulisic captaining the team coming out, and Sebastian Lletget, who played very well. Didn't see many back passes from him. And then Jordan Pefok at the top of the attack. I did want to say something about Jordan Pefok. His Twitter handle is Call Me Pefok. So we don't call him Sibachu anymore because it came from the source. So that was a starting 11. Obviously limited because of the players that you can't have coming in. Canada came out and played very negative. I don't know how you can spin it. You could say horses for courses. It got the result, and it did. But that was really ugly. 5 defenders, counterattack, no passing. But you got to break these teams down. And the U.S. has got to learn to do that because they're going to face that a lot over these 14 games. And Canada did pick some spots. They had a couple good looks in the first half. And the U.S. probed and poked, trying to find chances. They hit the post. Didn't have too many clear-cut opportunities, but enough to keep you a little buoyant, and their defense has been really good. It's been really, really good throughout the summer and here, so I think we can rely on the defensive side. Got to score goals. Now, nobody's scoring goals in qualifying, other than Panama against Jamaica. Every game has been decided by a 1-0 scoreline or 1-1. That's it. No one's scoring goals. The U.S. also really struggling in their attacking scheme, switching the ball. Direct play was non-existent. Everyone looked out of whack. Christian Pulisic looked every part of a player who hasn't played in 3 weeks and was in a COVID quarantine. So you hope that gets better. But he went the full 90 minutes. We'll see how he will be ready on Wednesday night. John Brooks in the first half kept cheating up, leaving Miles Robinson. There were big gaps, which you don't want to for a counterattacking team. So there's some very nervous moments. Certainly pushed by Alphonso Davies, who proved once again he is the best player in CONCACAF. And it's not even close. It's not even close. Christian Pulisic or Tecatito or Chucky. Alphonso Davies by a big amount. Striker situation. Didn't kids in this country, when they play soccer, didn't they want to score goals? Where are they? Where are they? Josh Sargent couldn't score goals. Jordan Pefok was really out of the game for the most part. People were screaming for Ricardo Pepi. You've got to play him here, right? You want a cup time, even though he swore his allegiance to the U.S. Get him in there. Is it too big of an opportunity? I'd like to see him. Got to do something different with that attack. Maybe play Christian Pulisic as a false nine. I don't know. But the striker position is a big concern. The wingers didn't really have a defined role. They were cutting inside, but I don't know. It worked on the goal for Brendan Aronson. Brendan Aronson scoring the goal. Great atmosphere at Nashville, but does it give you a home field advantage? I didn't really sense that. It's such a big place. It didn't feel like Denver, for instance, where the U.S. had a big early. I think you got to be careful what you pick for in these teams. So Tyler Adams, I'll get to some of the positives, and there are a few there. Tyler Adams was great. He made one mistake where he reacted to Mark-Anthony Kaye. I remember we all saw that play. While the U.S. was in attack mode, who knows what would have come of that. They did get the goal from... Where is this? Oh, Brendan Aronson in the 55th minute. Beautiful passing. Several guys got a touch. Pulisic, Acosta, Pefok got involved. Anthony Robinson played it in to Aronson. 1-0. Fantastic. But then 7 minutes later, after working so hard to get a goal, working so hard, and it felt like the U.S. were primed to get another goal or 3, because now Canada was detaching from their defensive duties. They had a chance to blow this game out, but in the 62nd minute, Alphonso Davies separates, dusts DeAndre Yedlin. He did that to Serginho Dest in the first half. Dest now out of the picture with an ankle injury. If he can't play, I don't think it's the end of the world, because he has been a big question mark. I hope he's healthy, because you want all these players. I think for the October camp, you've got to look at different fullback options. There's some good ones out there that weren't brought in, so it's going to be a different setup for that. Alphonso Davies came through, and then after working so hard for the goal, the Canadian goal came so easily, 62nd minute. So the U.S. pressed a bit, had maybe a couple good looks, nothing too gilt-edged, and it would end 1-1. So let's talk about what this means. People are calling this a must-win game. It's not a must-win game. It's not. You get a reprieve on some games. Unfortunately, by getting this result, you are now expected to win the rest of your home games. You might be able to have one, maybe drop some points in another home game, but you got to win all your home games now. So the margin for error has been taken away from the United States. The U.S. probably, odds on, are going to qualify for the World Cup. It's going to be a grind. But look at the standings. You have you have Mexico 2 for 2. They've not looked great, but they did get a win in Costa Rica at 6 points. Panama got a win, beating Jamaica 3-0. They're at 4 points. And then you have the United States, or Canada, Honduras, USA, El Salvador, all with 2 points. Costa Rica, Jamaica with 1 point, and then Jamaica with no points. The U.S. have 2 home games coming up in the October window. So it's very disappointing, but this is kind of part and parcel for what qualifying in CONCACAF is going to look like. The problem is, I think we should have expected this young team to struggle in many ways, and we're seeing that in bushels at this point. They have got to grow up. The lack of maturity with Weston McKennie and the decision that he made, and the lack of maturity in some other decisions in the game. Got to figure it out, or they got to get experienced guys who can do it. We wanted this team out there. They proved in the summer that they should be given this responsibility, but now they have to take it. Better performances from a lot of guys. Again, no Gio Reyna for Honduras. That's going to be tricky, but there's going to have to be some guys who put their hands up. There's enough of them there. The other one is Greg Berhalter, and Greg deserves time on this job because of what he did in the summer. However, because of the situation for the U.S., if they have a bad 3 games against Honduras and against the next 3 games in October, because of what happened in Cuba in 2017, you have to really consider replacing him. You can't be screwing around here. The U.S. cannot afford to miss the World Cup. Cannot. It would be cataclysmic, catastrophic if they missed it. So Greg Berhalter has to be better, and he knows it. He's got people supporting him in U.S. soccer, but the pressure's on them too. I hope it is. If it's not, you have got to find a way through. And remember, Jurgen Klinsmann was kind of given a short leash as well when he was replaced by Bruce Arena in the qualifying for 2018 as well. Speaking of Greg Berhalter, Taylor Twellman had a good tweet. He said, Berhalter has to be questioned waiting until the 33rd minute to make subs. 3 games in 8 days, you can't excuse that decision because legs, fitness are big questions. Greg, not good in the second half. He was not. The adjustments weren't there. The adjustments were better by Herdman in Canada. Bringing in Jonathan David and Tajon Buchanan, who caused havoc when they came into the game. He did well there. Berhalter has to figure this out. It doesn't make any sense to play those guys 83 minutes. You may have used up all you could from Pulisic. I don't know. You're going to need him. But now, without getting the victory, you have a major dilemma. Berhalter cannot have many missteps. He has a big supporter in me. I don't want any change because change causes a panic. But sometimes you need to have a proper reaction. So we shall see. The pressure's not on Yao. He knows there's pressure, but it will be here very soon in October. It's very difficult. It is very difficult to look at all of this. I will say, because of the situation, in the standings, the U.S. I think they put them in 4th place in the standings. I've seen somewhere they're behind Honduras, but it's 2 games. They're okay. They haven't lost. Defense is good. Still a lot of work. It really comes down to what happens in Honduras. By the way, people who said they should get 9 points or 7 points, that's crazy. I was trying to tell you, they're never going to get 7 points out of this. It's too much of an ask. Canada was always going to be a tough opponent. Quickly look at Honduras. They haven't looked great. They tied Canada in their place in the first game, and then they tied El Salvador. So they've had 2 away games. This is their first home game. So they're going to be pumped. But in the game against El Salvador, they didn't touch the ball. El Salvador pushed and pushed, had all the possession, were asking all the questions. Honduras very defensive. And by the way, they might play defensive against the U.S., which is very telling. That shows the respect this U.S. team. No one's going to give USA team space because they'll probably pay a big price, whether they're playing at home or away. So we shall see about that. But Honduras does not look great. You've got to get a result. If they get a point, we're going to all be upset, but that's fine. It's not fine, but it keeps you somewhat buoyant. A win would obviously be fantastic. The October games, you'll get 2 home games. October the 7th, USA at home against Jamaica. That's the one in Austin. Panama versus the United States, October the 10th down in Panama City. USA, Costa Rica, October the 13th at home. And then the next one will be November the 12th, USA, Mexico. But after those 6 games after October, you're almost at the halfway point. The Mexico game is the halfway point. You got to get it right. No reason to feel optimistic. No reason to feel good about the U.S. team. I still think they make the World Cup. But for the first time in 2 years today, I actually envisioned them not making it. And it wasn't a good feeling. So, and I need you guys, because if they start losing, you guys aren't going to tune into this. I'll have to talk about something else. Soccer OG, subscribe. Appreciate the support. Let's go. See you Wednesday night.